Building complicated funnels and planning your next launch won't fix the fact that your content isn't converting. It's just hiding the problem. You've probably convinced yourself that you just need a better funnel or a stronger launch. Something that's going to finally bring everything together and make your sales feel more consistent. So you start looking at what you can build. Maybe it's a new funnel, maybe it's a new freebie, maybe it's a full launch plan that feels more structured, more strategic, and more put together. And it makes sense because it feels like you're doing something to fix the problem. But if you're honest, you've already seen what happens when you do that. You put something out there, you promote it, you push it, you get people in, and for a moment it works. You get that engagement, you get the sign-ups, you might even make a few sales from it, but then it drops again, and you're back in the same place trying to work out what needs to change next. Because the problem isn't what you're building, it's what your content is doing. Right now, your content is not taking your audience to a point where they feel the need to move. It's not creating that level of clarity where they see themselves properly. It's not creating that moment where they realize staying where they are isn't an option anymore. So no matter what you build on top of it, funnels, launches, new offers, you're still feeding people into something that isn't converting at the level that it should. And that's why it feels like you're constantly having to do more. More content, more strategy, more ideas, more effort trying to get things to land. Because nothing underneath it is actually doing its job properly. And that's why your audience stay in the same pattern. They engage, they sign up, they consume, they stay in your world, but they don't move because they don't feel the need to. That's the gap. And that's the part that most people completely overlook because it's easier to build something new than to fix what is already there. This is exactly what we change inside Iconic the Mastermind. We don't start by adding more launches or funnels. We start by looking at your messaging and your content properly. What is it actually doing? Where your audience is getting stuck, why they're not moving. And we shift it so your content doesn't just sound good or feel valuable, it actually creates clarity, creates urgency, and moves your ideal clients towards a decision. Then we elevate your positioning so you're not relying on more strategy to convert, you're the person they already trust and want to work with. And then we build your evergreen ecosystem, which is the part that most people don't have at all, where your content, your messaging, and your positioning aren't working in isolation. They're all connected and actually leading somewhere. So when someone lands in your world, they're not just seeing one post or one story and trying to figure you out. They're moving through your content in a way that builds clarity, that builds trust, and naturally brings them closer to a decision. They start to see themselves in what you're saying. They start to understand what's actually going on for them. And they start to recognize that what you do is exactly what they need. Which means by the time they enter a conversation with you, they're not at the beginning anymore. They're already part way through that decision. Now that is what changes everything. Because instead of you having to push people through a funnel or sell harder every time you launch, your business is already doing the work for you consistently, whether you're on or not.